Hari Om. I'm very glad to welcome you all to this national webinar series on Yoga Ramayana Vishwa Kosha history. Blessed we are to have Acharya Ramachandraji Bhatt with us in this series to speak about Uttara Ramacharita.
विद्ये परे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजे वेदः प्राचेतसादासीत् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना.
Friends, the most beloved, respected satsangis, good wishes on behalf of S-VYASA, Ramayana Dhara. Today we are going to open up a new vista for Uttara Ramacharitam. Ramacharitam means Rama's story. Uttara means post coronation chapter of Rama's story. As we know, many kandas, starting from Balakanda, you could enjoy this story of three cities, tale of three cities. Rama's childhood, boyhood, it was in Ayodhya. But his mission of Dharmothana, it was in the Chitrakuta area, Panchavati area, across Godavari river, Sarayu river, Ganga river. There he went on visiting many Gurukulas like Bharadwaja, Sharabhanga, Agastya, Valmiki, etc. And there, when he was there in Chitrakuta, he encountered evil forces, demonic forces, satanic forces led by Ravana. And those forces, they were detrimental for upsurge of dharma. Deliberately, Ravana, with his wealth and his brilliance, his scholarship, his cleverness, could establish a very big kingdom, highly rich. So, Sajjana Shakti was deliberately curbed. Khara, Dushana and Trishira, these three demons, they were kept just to curb Dharma Shakti there in Panchavati area. And all those 14,000 asuras, satanic forces, were eliminated by Rama alone, fighting against those evils. That very story of adventure, so beautiful in Aranya Kanda. Thereafter, he could make friendship with Kishkinda, that is the second city. There also it was mix of dharma and adharma. It was not only dharma. Ayodhya, it is dharma, embodied. Yodhya, no, where no internal struggle, nor external fight. That type of free society. struggle-free society, internal squabbling-free society. It was there in Ayodhya. After that, he made very big saga for eliminating another very highly challenging demonic force, satanic force led by Ravana. But there are also very great yogis, yagis like Vishwa, they were. Even in Kishkinda also great man, man of discipline, man of yoga, man of Shuddha Samskrita Bhasha, Vedic Samskrita Bhasha. Such Hanuman was there in Kishkinda also. In Sri Lanka also there were good people, dharma-oriented spiritual masters. But Ravana, due to his ego, due to his frailty, his fickleness, with his 10-headed dilemma, could create that type of evil society, insane society. So that it was very much necessary Rama could eliminate them. There was no other way. So there was big fight because there were Indrajitu, Kumbhakarna, all they were highly rajasic, highly tamasic people. So after that this dawn took place now. And having come back to Ayodhya by Pushpaka Vimana, even after having tested that purity, chastity of Sita Mata, he came to Ayodhya. All Vasishtha Vamadeva, the great rishis, and his Mitra Mandali, his Mantri Mandali members, they were waiting eagerly, led by Bharata and Vasishtha Adishtam. Vasishtha was the guidant philosopher for their religious practices, spiritual practices. So, great spiritual master Vasishtha, he fixed an auspicious muhurta for coronation. Thereafter, that coronation took place with all grandeur, and it was a people's celebration. It was people's desire. It is that type of kingdom. It is Ganarajya. It is called Ganarajya. What is that Ganarajya? There were two important disciplines. One is rule of law, another one is individual liberty. When these two are taken care of, well taken care of, duly taken care of, then there will be emergence of Ganarajya. Ayodhya was that type of capital city. It is not something dictatorial. So, though royal authority was highly empowered, but it was guided by Amatya Mandali and Mantri Mandali. Sumant has led that Mantri Mandali. Vasishtha, great spiritual master of that time, he was the guidant philosopher for Amatya Mandali. Amatya Mandali, they are all spiritual. Vamadeva and so many other rishis were there. They were framing the constitution, do's and don'ts, for what particular situation, challenges, how that dharma sutra must be framed. That was guided by Vasishtha and his team. And that particular constitutional norms and disciplines under that Ganarajya preamble, it was executed by Sri Rama and his team. They were all executive heads. Rama was CEO, Chief Executive Officer. That is all. But he was supported by his like-minded co-workers, guided by spiritual masters. That is how all these three were cogently working. That is what we say now, Karyanga, Nyayanga, Shasakanga. That is what we say now in this time-friendly democratic norm it is. In our constitution, Indian constitution, we have all this. Those who elected bodies representing people's power, they will be the rulers. So they are called Shasakanga. And there will be jury and Supreme Court, High Court, and those judicial powers, Supreme Court, Chief Justice and his jury team. They take care of that legal, that is their duty. And that will be implemented by Karyanga. Now those who are there in the chief secretaries, deputy secretaries, additional secretaries, and commissioners, of police officers, all of the whole team, they take care of Karyanga. That's how these three Anga, they must work together. This particular system, which is Indian way of democracy, it is well guided by Ramayana. Ramayana, that was the experimental arena for all these norms, democratic values. Sarvatantra, Swatantra, Ganarajyam. That is what we say, sovereign democratic republic. That is our preamble. Even that preamble also very much guided by Ramayana, and whatever polity experimented during Ramayana time, very much it is taken by our constitutional forefathers, led by our Bhimrao Ambedkar, K.M. Munshi, Rajendra Prasad, many others. All they were highly spiritually rooted people, guided by our Dharma Shastra Parampara, jurisprudence, aware of them. They were aware of jurisprudence. That is what they were expert in those constitutional norms and disciplines. So, in the light of that constitution framed by Vasishtha led Amatya Mandali, Sumantu led Mantri Mandali, and other Mitra Mandali also there. There, all royal authorities, all even our all Nari Shakti, led by Sita Mata, and so they were also, that is Mitra Mandali. So it was not only one or two, all they were giving their free opinions. That is what we say. We see Sita Devi asking about Dharma. She discussed many things during that 14 years Vanamasa exile. Rama was there to answer. Many times such discussions were going on between Sita and Rama, between Lakshmana and Rama. And after that also, even many times such discussions were between Hanuman and Rama. What is to be practiced and what is to be implemented. That is how it was going on. So with this background, we are now simply dwelling into the present deliberation. It is there in the Uttarakhand. This Uttarakhanda, there are many opinions expressed by many scholars, because ours is very free society and we have freedom to question everything. Even the Ramayana, Mahabharata story, even all Dharma Shastras, we are free to ask questions. That is why there are hundreds of Dharma Shastra Granthas. It was very much structured by P.V. Khane, a great master of Dharma Shastra. 3 volumes, History of Dharma Shastra. There we can see how many Dharma Shastras. It is not only one book, particular book, or something, First Testament, Second Testament, like all 10 Commandments and this and that. That is what in the Semitic religion, it is only one. There they have framed some rules and regulations, do's and don'ts, referred to that prevailing condition of the society. That only it is blindly followed. If it is blindly followed, actually it is blindly followed, it will not be proper way of managing the whole society, because it is just like flowing water. So that whatever constitutional norms you recommend, you frame, it must be time friendly, situation friendly. So that is why we in India call it Yuganukula, Yuganukula, Yuganukula. Yuga is very important, and the prevailing condition of that Yuga must be properly evaluated, examined. In the light of that, jury, experts panel, they sit together and have free exchange. Then they arrive at some norms. That is put in the form of Nirnaya Sindhu, Dharma Sindhu, like that. They are called Sindhus. That much free society is ours. You must understand. When we just see around whatever is going on somewhere in Pakistan, Afghanistan, and in some countries, abruptly coup, army people takes the whole power to its hand, as it happened in Myanmar, recently in some Guyana or somewhere in African country. Abruptly it happened, so that rulers were simply discarded, uprooted, and the whole police force and army takes the whole power to its hand. No. Here that much very beautifully, cogently constructed norm. That is Dharma Shastra. That is the guideline for Ramarajya. Now, as soon as we think about this Uttar Ramacharitam, we must know all these things. Otherwise, as we know, there are many Ramayanas. Even in the recent past also, many people, they have written many novels, many poetries, many epics. So it is sometimes made fun of that even Mahashesha, one who is holding this earth, he is so heavily burdened by this burden of Ramayana. गांव शहर घर में नया रामायण उभरता है कभी कभी. Now we have all technology, so many people, someone writes something Sitayana, someone goes for Uttarayana, someone goes for um, as they like. That is how it happened. That is why many questions raised about even the chastity and dignity, credibility of Rama and Sita. Whatever we understand now, we must go back to that age. Sitting here in this ever changing society, that too sitting somewhere in the university chairs, somewhere sitting in some group influenced by leftism or influenced by Sigmund Freud, Oscar Wilde. If we interpret Ramayana, it will be highly misleading. That is what happened now due to many novels written by many people, because they are highly prejudiced, and whatever some sociological understanding, psychological understanding, that too influenced by some books written by inclined people, conditioned people, conditioned by some dogmas, doctrines, some pseudo psychological, pseudo scientific thought process. They write many novels and they become popular. People start discussing. No. That is why now we must go to what, to Uttarakhanda. It is there. But many people say it is not written by Valmiki. But Valmiki guided some Shrestha Muni, some trans-disciplinary man. If he composes, we have to read it. There also let us have our own discrimination. Why not? Someone told, some great critic in Karnataka, he objected Valmiki. Valmiki ತೂಕಡಿಸಿದಾಗ ರಾಮ ಕಳಚಿ ಬಿದ್ದ. That is how someone has written. So after having written so many shlokas from Balakanda to Yuddhakanda, Valmiki was very much tired by composing hundreds, thousands of shlokas, so that he was just snoring and he was drowsy, so that he could not structure Rama's personality, stainless personality, so that many controversies, Rama's decisions were highly criticized. Rama's credibility is questioned. Even he was branded as inhuman by sending his wife to Valmiki Ashrama, nearby ambience. All these are there. Okay. We are in the free society. We have sufficiently given freedom to question everything. Vimarshayita dasheshena yatechase tatha kuru. That is our norm. In the light of these things, we have very freedom too. But after having studied objectively, not conditioned by our own prejudice, not sold out to some ism like leftism or rightism, we have to study Valmiki Ramayana, Uttarakhand also. Now we can just go to Uttaramcharitam of Bhavabhuti also. Just to make Rama the most honored, revered hero of Dharma, he has written a drama, Uttaramcharitam. There he projected Rama's character very much highly stainless, free from any lokapavada. Now, just we delve into the story part, let us know about Ramarajya, do's and don'ts. Only some 8 or 9 shlokas are there just to describe the whole Ramarajya, which is highly lauded, highly revered. Even in the post-independence era, Mahatma Gandhi and many followers and many other spiritually rooted people, yes, India was vulnerable to all attacks for 1,000 years. Now we got independence, so that we must go for Ramarajya. That is emphatically stressed by many good people, God-loving people, constitutional heads, even all great spiritual pontiffs and Mahatmas, many Mahamandalaधीशas, they all argued for it. Wonderful. Now we must go for Ramarajya. But Ramarajya norm also must be Yuganukula. Eternal values for changing society. That is the formula for it. Eternal values for changing society. Society is ever changing. It is just like flowing Ganga water. Ever flowing Ganga water and Tunga water. If you sit there on the bank of any ever flowing river, every moment water is different. Its property is different. Its chemical property, physical property, aesthetic property, everything changed. Like that, society will be like that. That is why for discovering any remedial system, we must go for objective analysis of the prevailing condition of that particular society. Then only our salvation or our remedy will be user friendly. Otherwise, problem will be different and salvation will be in different arena. No matching. No matching. That is what happening nowadays. Many times, problem is not properly assessed, objectively not evaluated. Immediately we jump for remedies. Then no matching. Problem will be remaining as it is, and it will be aggravated sometime. So now let us think about this. What is that? Main norms of Ramarajya. Very beautifully some formulas are presented there. For example, Nachasnu Vruddha Balanam Preta Karyani Kurvate. One shloka is available there. In Ramarajya, elderly people were not performing any funeral practices for their younger generation. This very statement shows that there were no untimely death. Shishu Maranam, death, untimely death of infants, children, it was not there. This very statement shows that society, how healthy it was. One statement, very single statement. That means how alert and spiritually rooted grahasthas were there, householders. So in every house, that was the norm. No untimely death reported in Ramarajya. That means Pashyema Sharadashatam. It shows that they were all physically healthy people. If they are physically healthy and they live for 100 Atamans, 100 spring seasons, it shows that their food system was yogic. Their behavior was yoga oriented. Their mingling dealing with so many other householders, members of the family, members of the society, neighbor, everything it is decided there only. That is what now also we say. What is that healthy society? Where children are free to move. That is the best society, healthy society. First norm for it. To decide healthy society, the first parameter is where children are safe. They can move freely. Now you see, with this understanding now check our society, Indian society, which is now very much spiritually rooted society. It is not something American society or Manhattan in New York. In Bharat, we can't say no. And another one is where chastity of woman, Matra Shakti, her purity, it is well protected, safeguarded. These two parameters, if you take, nothing else needed. Dharma will be there, otherwise it cannot happen. Proper understanding must be there in the family system, otherwise it is not possible. People must get proper food, healthy food, sattvic food. Ayuhu, sattva, bala, arogya, sukha, priti vivardhanaha. Rasyaha, snigdhaha, tatha hridyaha aharaha sattvika priyaha. Very first discipline, ahara discipline. Food. This is the definition given by Sri Krishna Paramatman in 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Sattvam, balam, strength, physical strength, mental strength, intellectual creativity, vital capacity, physical strength, everything taken duly. And it must be rasya, and it must be soft, and it must be free from katu, amla, lavana, ati, ushna, ruksha, that type of food. If people take, then only in the domestic condition there will be proper norm, no clashes between father and mother, no clashes between daughter and mother, or son and mother, son and father, or grandsons and grandfathers. Everything it is normal. All they were living together. Undivided families were there. Undivided families without friction. That very fact shows that they are psychologically very calm and quiet. That was the condition of Ramarajya. That is how we have to take. In terms of domestic balance, domestic discipline, in terms of social harmony, in terms of psychological calmness, in terms of educational pattern, in terms of political ruling, in terms of economic abundance, society must be pure, balanced. Then only all these things happen. No untimely death. Nachasma vruddha balanam preta karyani kurvate. One statement. Among all those statements, one statement just now I shared. That is what. And Rama says, Sneham dayancha kirtincha yadiva janakim api आराधनाय लोकस्य मुंचतो नास्ति मे व्यथा. This was composed by Bhavabhuti in his Uttar Ramacharitam. So beautiful. After coronation took place, That was the statement shared among all co-workers. He says, I think in that August Sabha, there were all Vasishtha and Vamadeva. Sneham, friendship I give up. Daya, compassion, mercy, kind-heartedness I give up. Kirtyam, name and fame I give up. I give up many. Ready to give up. Ready to renounce. Ready to denounce. For what? Aradhanaya lokasya. That is all. That word is the master keyword here. Lokasya aradhanaya. So people must be taken care of. They are my gods. Those gods must be honored, revered, worshipped by me. For that I am sitting here, coronated. Or yadiva janakimapi. Last sentence. Even my dharma patni, just for aradhanaya lokasya, in order to make people comfortable, happy, dharma margis, Vedanta margis, Veda margis, Yaga margis, Yoga margis, they must be like that. People must be happy. Happy in the sense it is not only just for consumption. People making happy means only roti kapda makan. Nahi. No. Unless they are trained to live happily, maintain calmness in their mind, that is samskara in our tradition, people will not be happy just by giving food. Now you know, in many houses, mothers and fathers, they know, my child I give all many comfortables, all toys made up of plastic, so that I make my child happy while playing those toys made up of even AK-47 gun also given to children to play. Naturally, that curious mind will ask question to mother. What is this? Mother has to tell. This is AK-47, my daughter, my beloved daughter. And with this you can kill thousands, hundreds. Like the dug. What happens? And I saw somewhere when we just were called and you were there and the door was opened. Father opened the door and child was very curious with its plastic AK-47 and it was showing, threatening our guests. That is that type of most unhealthy, unhygienic, unpsychological behaviors. We only tempting. These are all most inhuman practices. Even while providing toys, now what to say? TV, mobile. So children misled horribly. Impact is beyond your imagination. But there, he says, Rama says, I am like this. That is my dharma marga. Loka aradhana. Loka aradhana means people must be in dharma marga. Dharma marga is important. But dharma is tested in terms of dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Purusharthas. Very important. If that is not taken care of, very difficult. So, immediately testing started. Rama just issued this statement with his co-travelers, all Mantri Mandala, Mitra Mandala and Amatya Mandala, Mantri Mandala. Immediately after that, Gupta Shara comes and then come to reports. That is how this very story goes on. Very interesting. So, Rama's Dharma Vrata, Pattabhisheka, because you know how Pattabhisheka is conducted. Adandyosmi, Adandyosmi, Adandyosmi. That is what king declares. I am so free. Nobody can punish me. Nobody can punish me. Nobody can punish me. I have full freedom to rule as I like. This is a ceremony conducted during coronation. Adandyosmi, Adandyosmi. Raja tells. Immediately, head of Mantri Mandala, spiritual master Vasishtha comes with his hammer and just putting hit soft hit on his head. Emperor said, Dharmadandyosi, Dharmadandyosi, Dharmadandyosi. No, you are not so autonomous. You are not a dictator. Beyond you, Dharma is there. That sword it is hang on your head. Without Dharma frame, discarding it, breaking it, you cannot take any decision. Dharma is danda for you. Dharma is the guiding force to you. Crossing that norm and discipline, you, as you like, cannot take any decision, cannot punish anyone. See, Nyayadhipati, Nyayadhisha, Nyayapithadhisha, he is Dharmadandya. Now you come to our society. All our district commissioners, they are Nyayadhikaris. They have to give decisions. During Britishers' time, they were all collectors, they are called. Now they are commissioners. Assistant commissioners, deputy commissioners, they have to take decision. They must be Dharmadandya. Now, that danda is simply ignored because the problem is in the training which is imparted to them, heads, district heads. So, with this proper understanding and insight, we must conduct our journey in this Kanda, Uttarakanda. This I call Ramarajya Gatha. Another name I give it. Uttarakanda or Uttaramacharitam, whatever name, as you like, you can choose. But for me, it is Dharma Rajya Gatha. Whether Dharma Rajya was there after coronation took place there in Ayodhya or not. Rama has followed that or not. Sita supported it or not. That is the only thing in that parameter. Using this, we have to decide. Not any other psychology, flight psychology, this psychology, that psychology, human psychology, whatever it is. Whether it is human or inhuman, we can't understand now. We are all pressurized people, conditioned people. We are just very much egoistic because of our knowledge. Knowledge of what? British culture, this culture, that culture. Indian is very less there. For Indian Ganarajya concept, we must go to Ramayana and Shanti Parvas Mahabharata. With that understanding, highly funded with all this understanding, if you talk about Ramayana also, or Rama's character, Sita's character, Rama's decision in Uttarakhanda, everything is okay. Otherwise, conditioned by all these so-called popular philosophies, Sigmund Freud's philosophy, or some Karl Marx philosophy, we decide and we narrate and we describe, evaluate those events occurred before so many innumerable millenniums. How can you apply your so-called immature dogmas or theories formulated by like most prejudice people like Sigmund Freud and Oscar Wilde and this Karl Marx and so many. How can you be objective there? No. So with this humbleness, let us conduct our journey. वेदवेद्ये परे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजे वेदः प्राचेतसादासीत् साक्षाद् रामायणात्मना. Om Swasti.
Thank you, sir. We are very grateful to have heard about Uttara Ramacharita. We'll meet again tomorrow. Namaste.